All right, welcome to the Friday main event Class 4A Top 10 show. This is the third video in our series of 3 for Class 4A Lee Teat. And much like we had the same dilemma in Class 3A, there seems to be a perennial dweller up the top of the Class 4A.
Correct.
And we've got them there again this year, despite the fact that Kane Ballard moves out as head coach and Dan Hammond moves in. We got the Green Devils at number 1, and, I'm kind of one of those guys. We used to play King of the Mountain when we was kids.
That's right.
Until somebody knocks you off the top, man, you're going to get it. That's the way I am with teams that year in and year out, prove out to be the best team, and we think Greenville will be there in Cookeville again this year. Don't you think so, Lee?
I do, too. I think they'll be there, no problems. 30 straight wins. So all these kids that are, I know we mentioned earlier, in the earlier show, 4-4 returning, but the kids that are not returning starters have been a part of 30 straight wins.
That's right.
They know how to practice to win. They know how to game prep to win. So I don't see any let up.
Yeah, their last loss, Lee, was to Knoxville Central back in the second round, I think back in 2016. So these guys haven't been in a losing locker room for the most part, any of these kids on this roster in all likelihood. They're used to winning, and I think what a game is going to be a good test for them early. They've got August 22nd matchup, a Thursday night game against Powell, and Powell is a team we're expecting to do very well in 5A.
Correct.
So I think they're going to get a tester early, and we'll kind of get a real good sense as to whether we made a good pick here or not.
I think that'll be a test for them, but I still think Greenville's cream of the crop in 4A. Man, I tell you what, I'm real high on Ty Youngblood. We got to go up there last year and watch that kid, and, man, I'm going to tell you something. He's got the right name. He kind of reminds me of Jack Youngblood. He's just a wrecking ball all over the field, and I like the kid.
Had any teeth missing, did he?
I don't think so. Maybe not yet.
Maybe not yet. Yeah, and then they got Drew Gregg, Lee, that transferred in from Knoxville Catholic, and I don't know whether he'll win that starting QB job, but at least they got another kid in the mix that, if nothing else, he's going to push whoever was the expected starter with Cade graduating last year.
Yep, and then they got Everhart and Greenway coming back, and both those kids are up 280 plus, 6'2", 6'3", so they got the size, the speed, and the ability, and I like them back at the 1.
Yeah, they're replacing so many skill players. That's the only question mark for Greenville, but like you said, Lee, they kind of breed winning up there, and I think that they'll be just fine as far as the skill level area goes.
I think so.
Lee, Anderson County, I've got them as our number 2 team, and I'm not really so much basing this on what they've got coming back. Now, granted, they do have some good talent back. They lost their Mr. Everything in Stanton Martin, and that's a tough guy to replace. But I think a team that's played as well as Anderson County has the last 2, 3, 4 years, they deserve that 2 spot, and until they prove to me that they're not worthy of it, I think they deserve the spot.
Well, you take Greenville out of the mix, Anderson County's got 2 state titles.
There you go. I totally agree.
Last 2 years with Stanton Martin. Losing him hurts, but those kids are, like you said, they're winners.
Yeah, and they've got a tough region match against Chattanooga Central on October the 18th. I think that's probably the 2 teams expected to contend. The Purple Pounders are probably the toughest region rivals, I think, for Anderson County. So it'll be a big test for them right there.
I think so.
The third place team, Lee, and ironically, this is the same 3 teams we've had in our top 10, I think, for the 3rd year straight, if I'm not mistaken. But we got Elizabeth and the Fighting Cyclones, and I like Sean Witten. I think he's a really, really great coach. He's 105-41 in 12 years there at Elizabeth and running that spread, 10-2 last year. 5 starters back on both sides of the ball. They're replacing a senior quarterback, Carter Everett, as well. So how do you like that pick at 3?
I like it. I think, one thing that we look at, too, is you take the 1, the 2, and the 3 seeds that we have in our top 10, and you put them in any other region in 4A, I think they're the top of the heap.
Probably win it, yeah.
I think they win it.
I would agree with that. That Region 1 has been tough with Greenville and Elizabethton, and then had to come out of that quarterfinal against Anderson County every year. So you're battle tested when you get into that semifinal final game, and that's proven true as Greenville has dominated in Cookeville the last couple of years. So I like that pick, Lee, Elizabethton. Moving on down, our 4 pick may surprise a few that we've got them that high, but we like Springfield. Now, I know Springfield is losing most all of their offense with Fat Cat Johnson gone, Brian Hayes, the quarterback, Keith Jones, a really solid running back. All those kids have graduated, but they got 7 kids back on that defense that was so good last year.
That's right. And another thing that we attest to is Coach Wilson's on to something up there at Springfield. He's on to something. He's got the kids buying in. They're running through Region 5, Region 5. They're running through it every year. I don't see any let up there. I like them at the 4 spot right now.
I do too. I don't know who you'd put ahead of them. I mean, we talked about this in our region preview shows, Lee. Region 4, I think you can probably go 3 teams deep, maybe 4 teams deep in almost every region, and make an argument for them winning the region.
That's right.
It's a very balanced classification, and I think this year is a testament to that. As that's what we've seen year in and year out in this classification. We like Springfield at 4. And Dustin Wilson is a big reason for that.
That's right.
At number 5, I know we've got this team higher than probably anybody, and we're really impressed with Ryder Gallardi. We're really impressed with the job first-year head coach Paul Derrick did there at Nolensville. Program's still growing.
That's right. Tim Koutras and Ryder Gallardi, they'll hook up quite a few times this year. I fully expect that. C.J. Ware is a really good linebacker they've got down there. A lot of offensive linemen are coming back to help protect Gallardi. I like the Knights, man.
I think when they host Maplewood, Lee, October the 18th for senior night, 2 losses to Maplewood last year, I think that's kind of haunted Paul Derrick in the offseason. I think that's the team that he really wants to get a shot at. I think that October the 18th game against Maplewood at home, and we talked about how beautiful that facility is. I think that'll be a big one for those guys.
Right.
A big game for Springfield we failed to mention as our number 4. They've got Creekwood last week, week 11, at Creekwood. That'll be a big game for the Jackets.
Right.
I've been trying to mention these. We kind of picked out a game that we feel will be key for each team in our top 10, so don't let me forget to mention that on each one of them. That's your job, man. Keep me straight. You ain't doing it. Lee, at number 6, we like Dyersburg over in Region 7. I think they're going to compete with Haywood this year. Dyersburg and Haywood beat each other up last year by large margins. We talked about that in our region preview show. Each team beat the other by 30-plus points. But we like Bart Stowe's team, 81-36 in his 9 years there at Dyersburg. I think the Trojans are going to be very competitive. They only got 4 starters back on offense, 5 on defense, Lee, but you got to like the talent they got back.
I do. Israel Barbary, junior linebacker, coming back, and then they got a preseason All-Stater in Sean Harris and Darius Harris. So, Dyersburg, Coach Stowe, they got talent coming back. Speaking of your big games,
yeah,
they go to Haywood on the 20th.
It'll be a tough one.
That'll be for the title.
Yep, I agree with you. That's going to be a tough matchup. After getting beat, Lee, by 33 points in the second round last year, or third round, second round, but whatever. Third round, yeah. It had to be quarterfinal matchup, didn't it? That's got to be a bitter taste for Coach Stowe and his group, his squad. Probably had a circle. I'm going to guess on September the 20th since the schedule came out for this year. So, yeah, that's a big game for them, and I think the region title will be on the line. Lee Teat at number 7. We got a team out of Region 6. We've got Jackson Northside. Region 6, another region, very highly contested. We think it's going to be a tight race. We like Lexington over in that region. We like Hardin County. A lot of good teams in Region 6. That region is one of the ones we mentioned.
That's right.
1 through 4, it's kind of a coin flip. But Northside at 8-5, 5 back on both sides of the ball, and Lee, they've got a lot of talent back.
They do, and they took one of our top 5 teams in Springfield to the wire last year in the 3rd round.
They did.
I like Coach Powell. I like what he did in the first year over there, and it doesn't hurt to have 3 preseason All-Staters back, and all of them. I consider us skills positions as in DBs, running backs, and then a safety.
Right.
So I think he's going to be good over the top on the back end on his defense, and defense will get you where you need to be. I like him at the 7.
I like him at the 7 also, Lee. Number 8 team, this pick may be coach-related as much as anything. We're big fans of Arcente Broom. I think he does a phenomenal job with that Panther team. Or at Maplewood, they don't have a lot of starters back, only one on both sides of the ball. James Mason's back at fullback. Eric John's a really good junior linebacker, comes back to help out with that defense. David Sutherland, running back junior. So he's young, but I like the talent level. I love legs. The offensive line is 6'2", 290, making holes up front for him. I like the Panthers.
I like Coach Broom as well. I think Maplewood, don't let that 1-1 confuse you or be misleading. I think they're going to be right there in the Region 4.
What about that non-region schedule, Lee?
Pretty brutal.
Pretty brutal. That's
well, Hillsboro, Pearl, Mount Juliet, East Nashville. That's pretty good out of region schedule.
Yeah.
I don't know that he repeats a 12-2 year. But I think he'll be playoff ready.
I totally agree with you. I don't think he gets 10 wins or maybe 10 wins. I'm thinking he's going to get maybe 7-3 coming out with that brutal, tough non-region. I think you got to be happy with 7-3. Again, we're talking about Pearl Cone. Hillsboro is going to be solid. Mount Juliet's going to be solid. East Nashville was a really good 3A team. Pearl Cone, East Nashville, and Stratford all, along with Giles County, in a really tough 3A region. So
right.
He's going to be tested, no doubt, and I like Maplewood at number 8.
I do too.
Number 9 is a team that we got some pretty high expectations on coming out of Region 3, and that's Bruce Lamb's Wildcat squad. Livingston Academy played Tullahoma pretty close last year. Early, wound up losing that first-round game 37-23. They were in the game at halftime, Lee. 7 starters back on both sides of the ball, so you got to like the talent coming back.
I think, man, this is just my opinion. I think Livingston Academy might be my sleeper team. If they can go to Cookboy and compete at Upperman, compete at York, which I feel like they're going to be able to compete with all of those squads.
Right.
I think they're going to get a little bit more battle tested, but I think they're kind of my sleeper team. I think they may make a push in the playoffs this year because they have a lot of senior leadership, 3 preseason All-Staters, and Will McDonald, is a quarterback there, is really good, and a really good receiver there, Wesley Smith, and then Cole Spears to protect them on the offensive line. So I kind of like Livingston. I think they might be flying a little bit under the radar.
Yeah, I think so. And like you said, they run that spread over there. And anytime you got all-state quarterback in McDonald, and he's going to be throwing the ball up to Wesley Smith, a wide receiver, right. All-state, they're going to score points. I think the other side of the ball, 7 kids back on defense. So, I mean, yeah, I can see it, Lee. I like that pick, man. Maybe break that string of Region 3 losses to Region 4 there in the postseason.
Very well. Cool.
All right, Lee, our 10th place team was a team that we had competing for that Region 3 title, and that's Haywood County. I think them in Dyersburg. We had them 1A and 1B, in Region 7. I think the Tomcats are going to be solid coming off runner-up finish to Greenville there in the state title game under new management. You like Chris Smith, though, right?
Oh, yeah, I really do. I like him. I always liked him when he was at Germantown. I think he runs a good program, but there's some reason, and we talked about this, so kind of alluded to it in the region rundown there. Coach Smith didn't leave Germantown to go to Haywood County for no reason. I think Haywood County, man, is loaded with athletes.
Sees a lot of potential there.
I think so.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lee. Well, that's our top 10, Lee. A few teams. I mean, again, we talked about it over and over and over. But Class 4A is so balanced. There was a a number of teams, Lee. We could have made an argument for it. We actually did have Tullahoma in our top 10 initially, but as I've done more research, I saw teams that probably had a few more starters back than Tullahoma, and maybe their schedule was a little more favorable.
Right.
Wound up bumping the Wildcats out of our top 10. Same thing with Creekwood, another team that Coach Thiel, I had his Red Hawks in the top 10. it's kind of been a musical chairs for our Class 4A, and I guess that's partly my fault. I put my Region 4A top 10 out. I wanted to get something out for you guys, the fans, that kind of generate a little discussion about. But that's the downside to releasing it before I've got all the information. We wound up flipping it a lot. And I don't mean to be flippant as far as ranking these teams, Lee, but to be fair, we put it out early for the fan base. You know, it gives them something to talk about in the off season. But Hardin County, another team we've had there. Lexington's another team we felt was worthy of a top 10 consideration. Marshall County, Montgomery Central, Sullivan South, Jackson Southside. These are all teams easily could have had in the top 10.
Right.
I mean, it's just, I think Class 4A is just very, very balanced.
Very.
There's not a clear cut, I'm including Greenville. They're not clear cut to me this year, not to the extent they have in years past.
Right.
So I think we were pretty fair in our assessment of top 10. I hope you guys agree, and we would like to put the comments on the video, man. Let us know where we goofed up at. We got thick skin. We can take a game with Lee. And Lee mentioned that in our last video, man. We love feedback. We love comments. By all means, hit that comment section or comment on Coach T. I'll be putting threads up announcing these videos. So give us some feedback, man, good or bad. We enjoy hearing it. And I guess that's gonna wrap it up, Lee. So this has been the Friday Main Event Class 4A coverage. This is our top 10 show. Mike Molder and Lee Teat. This is the Friday Main Event. Be sure to make us your pregame destination every Friday this year as you get ready for your high school football games. We'll catch you guys later.